Open eye, feel the waves cut through me. Hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me
close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on we'll go.
What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia? Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations. They keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out of my head.
I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. My darling dear, you're never here. When I'm in pain, you hide and disappear. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near, in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Do you remember how you held me then? Now you got me reaching out. And do you see you got me falling in more times than I can get out? Down in the deep of my mind, I call for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, how long do I got to keep you, to keep you? Down in the deep of my mind, I call for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, trying so hard not to keep you, to keep you.
What's up, y'all? Give me 1 second. I got my pair of shorts in the camera angle, in the camera frame. What's good, y'all? We are finally live. I apologize for the huge delay. Got this bad boy too. Pretty decent, not as good as the Walmart brand though. But I'm live on Instagram, I'm live on YouTube right now, and I hope the quality's nicer. Like, I just got this new webcam, Razer Keo Pro. Not that expensive. It was only 120 bucks. Normally, I think it's like 200. So there's a sale going on Amazon. Picked it up. I was about to actually get a Logitech C920, which is the typical, like everyone has that for streaming and stuff. But quality wise, I looked at a lot of reviews because I was probably going to get one. I was on the verge of getting one. It's only 70 bucks, but like everyone knows, cheaper you go. It's not the cheapest option, but it's not it's a little bit on the cheaper end. So I looked at the quality, looked at different reviews, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I want to use this for a good amount of time. Especially, I want good quality for my streams. And let me lock this into place. And I found it, the Keo Pro, and it's crazy because literally, if you look at this thing, here's the box. It literally looks like a camera lens. It's pretty sick. So there we go, Keo Pro. See if I have auto zoom on this thing. So yeah, 120 bucks, not bad for this quality. Just to tell you, to show you guys the difference in quality, it's insane. Like, let me. All right, this is just like all right, different camera angle, but let's. Sorry, let me activate my normal webcam right here. Show you the difference. This is like it's crazy. This is like night and day. Like this versus that. Let's actually let's do the comparable angle. Let's do my other web, the other camera that's attached to my monitor. Give me 1 sec. And it's not popping up. What's the left one? All right, you know what? We'll just not worry about that. But it's insane to see the difference between that, like this quality, my webcam, and then this quality. It's like night and day. It's insane. So I'm gonna be using this bad boy from now on. For those of you on Instagram, head over to my YouTube. Yeah, today's been a crazy day with work and everything. Had to stay a little bit later, had to get things done. Let's see. Yeah, I got back to the house around like close to 6, and I was like, I need to work out. I've been slacking on the working out lately. Like I worked out today, gym was packed. It's annoying. That's why I never go in the evenings. I just like to go in the mornings. But the past couple days, just haven't been able to go to sleep early enough because I typically wake up at like 5:30 or 5. Today I had to wake up at 5 if I wanted to go to the gym in the morning, just because I had to go in the office, want to get in there around like 8:39 ish. So in order to do that, get like an hour and a half workout in, shower, eat breakfast, and all that. I have to get up at 5, and yeah, but I didn't go to bed till like midnight or 12:30. So I'm like, 4.5 hours of sleep to get to the gym. Uh, yeah, so I did sleep in a little bit, and just to make sure I get a decent amount of sleep. Eventually, you get Oregon. This is what happens when you start making like money. You have a real job, full time, or you start making like adult money. Like you start just like, oh, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. I have a list of stuff. So, granted, invest in your business first. That's why I bought this camera. I probably need to add eventually a second light, probably one up here. I have my ring light right here. But even this, with just because the quality camera is way better, I think this actually might be suitable. So I actually think I could probably lay off buying another light, maybe some backfill light. Definitely want to get in the background on that wall. I want to get a neon light thing. I think this would be sick. That just says like Nico Rigs on it or something like that. I think that would be dope. But a lot of things I wanted to buy. I'm getting my new car, in probably a couple weeks. It's gonna come. They're gonna give me a more specific date on that. They said October sometime, so they're checking in every single day to give me an updated ETA and that. So I'll have my car. I'm spending money on. I'll eventually sell my other car. Have to fix it up a little bit, or just make it look nicer. Repaint the top of the roof, rusting a little bit. Get it detailed. Get it nice and shiny. Look as nice as it can for a 20-year-old car, and sell that. And then probably gonna put some aftermarket stuff in my new car. We'll see. Whatever doesn't void the warranty, so I have to look into that. What else? There's a lot of other stuff, gym stuff. I still need to get elbow wraps, knee sleeves. Starting to push heavier on the weights. Now that my shoulder is actually feeling great. My knee still, like I said, think I have tendonitis in it or on it, whatever the term is. So that's kind of annoying. So I've just been stretching, making sure. It's just whenever not necessarily flex it, but whenever I pull it back to stretch, it's tight and it hurts a little bit. Once I stretch it out a little bit, it feels pretty fine. Um, Sorry, let me put the mic closer. I noticed in my previous lives that I sounded a little quiet for some reason. So I'm going to make sure the mic is in front. And eventually I'll probably get a stand for this. I don't know, I'll hook this up too. So that way it's like next to my mouth, a little bit louder. I don't want it super loud or else it'll cut out if it's too loud. Um, what else? Lots of stuff we want to buy. Concerts I want to go to. Just bought my ticket for the BYU Texas game that's coming here. Boys trip to Vegas in November. Bought my plane ticket for that. Oh yeah, crazy thing. There was hail on Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night. Or a hail warning, and I'm just like, okay, I gotta think about that. Can't park in the garage, and even if I could park in our garage, uh, all of us can fit our cars in there, so I'm probably gonna eventually get a car covered to make sure because the hail's down here. Newsflash, that's Texas weather for you. I'll probably have to buy a car cover, a couple $100. That's what I've kind of seen, but we'll see. Don't want, gotta keep the car nice and pristine, especially since it's new. But spending money left and right, and that's probably what a bunch of y'all. This actually perfectly leads into what I'm talking about. The topic of the night is managing your money without budgeting. Now, I'm a finance person, so going through a budget, making a budget, going through all the numbers in my spare time when I have a little bit of spare time. I love adding just stuff. I have a giant Excel sheet that it's like all my money, what my assets, investments are, what are the returns on that. I keep on adding to it. Try to make it dynamic so it constantly it tracks my net worth, and I have a graph, and every single time, every single day the my stocks go up or crypto goes up or whatever. Um, it calculates my net worth, which is super nice, and I can see what my different allocations are. Um, and I'm sure I'm going to add more stuff to it as well, but just kind of like a big, huge Excel sheet. I love it. Like, I love looking at it. It's like gotten to the point where it's so big and so dynamic that I can't do automatic calculations, or else it will just like make the Excel sheet super slow. So my options are make separate Excel sheets and kind of link them all together, or have one big Excel sheet and just manually calculate each sheet as I want to see different metrics. So I kind of opted for that second option because I kind of still want everything together visible, so I don't have to open multiple sheets at the same time. But that being said, budgeting can be a pain in the butt for the average person. I know that. Yeah, even for me, it's not my most favorite thing. I like buying stuff, I like selling stuff, making money, and seeing my net worth and my income go up. It's not very nice to see your expenses go up, but lifestyle creep is a real thing. Like I'm experiencing it right now. Just like I said, more money you have, the more like, oh, I can start buying this. I want to start buying that. I want to go on this vacation. I want to see this concert. So I might have another thing just because I'm another live. It's actually another topic I might do. I need to write that down. Let me write that down real quick. Is how to avoid lifestyle creep. Because it's a real thing. Just because you make more money, you see more numbers in your bank account, and you're like, I kind of have some leeway. But this is actually a really good way to help prevent that. But I want to go into more step by step in a separate live. To do that, I think that's a very good topic that everyone deals with. Like, no matter if you're making 30 grand a year, 40 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, a million, 10 million, 100 million, a billion a year, it affects everyone. It happens to everyone. It's just how it is with lifestyle. All right. Just so I remember that. But let's go ahead and hop into it. Yeah, no one really likes budgeting. So, this is actually a way, I learned it from one of my accounting professors. Ironically, my accounting professor, not my finance professor. But I actually really liked a lot of my accounting professors. A lot of them more so than the finance professors, but I still have number one and number two. My top favorite professors were finance professors. Ironically, one of them was an accountant before, but I digress. All right. So, two things about money that you need to know about your own monetary financial situation is one, how much money comes in to your account, aka what's your income. Two, how much money goes out of your account, aka what are your expenses. Now it's nice to know this. Most people know I make X amount annually. I make 50K, I make 75K, I make 120K per year. But especially if you're working a W-2 job like myself, you're like, all right, I make X amount of dollars per year. That doesn't really help you a lot just because you have to incorporate, they're going to withhold, just because you're a W-2 employee, you're going to withhold taxes. Even if you're not a W-2 employee, you're going to have to eventually pay taxes. But that's kind of a separate situation, separate topic. But know how much money comes in. I think it's it's easier to kind of know this or figure this out on a monthly basis or even bi-weekly. So most people get their paychecks every 2 weeks or their direct deposits every 2 weeks. So knowing how much money comes in, and then you can do that on a monthly, quarterly, eventually annual to actually get the correct amount of money that comes into your account. Just because, like I said, they withhold taxes from you. They also withhold insurance premiums if you have benefits through your employer, 401k contributions, and stuff like that. So you need to know, number one, how much money comes in. Number two, how much money goes out. And before I actually go into anything else, I forgot to do my disclaimer. Disclaimer, I'm going to put in my description as well. I'm not a financial advisor. I am a financial professional, but I'm not acting in the position of giving financial advice. This is not financial advice. This is strictly for educational purposes. Whatever you invest or put your money into is risky. You may lose money. So these are not necessarily, this is not financial advice. My disclaimer. I'll do that at the end of the video as well. All right. So thing number two you need to know about your financial situation, your money, is how much money goes out. Like I said, expenses. And knowing this on a bi-weekly is that the correct term? Bi-weekly, every 2 weeks, or monthly. This is good to know. Any of y'all on Instagram Live, head over to my YouTube. If you want to shoot me a question, shoot me in the Instagram chat. I am also bringing my YouTube chat as well. All right. So those are the two things you need to know. How much money comes in, what's your income, how much money goes out, what are your expenses. You should know that like the back of your hand. Now, I know initially it's like, oh, it's like annoying. I just gonna get paid and then whatever money is my bank account, I kind of spend. But honestly, the average person doesn't even keep track of that. They just see money comes in, they just kind of keep spending whatever. They don't, as long as they have enough money in their account to cover their credit card, which you should be paying off every single month. Do not pay the minimum, pay the full balance every single month. You don't want to wreck your credit score. You don't want to accrue interest. You can pay extra money for no reason. That's what the credit card companies want you to do. That's why they let you borrow money. But the smart people take advantage of it, spend just like the normal amount they would normally spend using cash. Don't ever use cash because you can use a credit card and monitor it every once in a while. And I'll talk about that at the end. I don't know why you should monitor it every once in a while. But then you can get benefits and stuff, and that's why I talked about my other live, why you should never use a debit card, only use credit cards. So, those are the two things you need to know about your monetary situation, your financial situation. All right, next, two ways, because most people are typically in this position. Like I said, most people, the average person, they know how much money's coming in, they see positive numbers in the bank account, they spend money on their credit card, off, and they're like, they don't see the big picture. This is important to see the big picture because you need to know what comes out on a every 2 weeks, every month, annual basis, every quarter, whatever. But most people are in the situations they're actually either losing a ton of money, or they're slowly bleeding money that they're like their bank account's just like getting slowly like slowly by slowly it's decreasing, and you're losing that cash, you're losing that money. But you may not really see it. Most people are, at the end of the day, what I term it as, you're spending more than you're making. But it's very hard actually for most people, for pretty much all people, to see that just because they're not necessarily tracking that or paying attention to it. They just see, oh, I got paid. Oh, this was my expenses. I'll pay off the credit card. Even people that are making lots of money, if you break it down and if you look at the actual aggregate numbers, you could be making 150 grand, 200 grand a year, but your expenses are 210 grand. Technically, you're slowly losing money. So you might have to pull money out of your savings. You might have to sell some of your investments. It's not a good situation to be in. You want to be net positive, not net negative. Slowly decreasing your net worth, or a negative net worth. But I talked about net worth in one of my other lives. But essentially, what net worth is your accumulated assets minus your liabilities. So people think, for purely an example's sake, like a house. Like, all right, I put 20K down, 50K down on a house. It's worth 500 grand. It's worth $500,000. I'm worth $500,000 if that was the only thing you owned. No, you do not, or you are not worth $500,000. Just because you own the house doesn't mean you still have the mortgage, right? You still have to pay off that liability. If you were to die tomorrow, someone's going to have that mortgage. So your net worth would technically be your 50K that you put in. That's how much you equity, the down payment you had in the house, and the rest of it's the mortgage. It's the loan that you technically owe the bank or whoever issued you that mortgage. So that's $450,000. So you technically, if that was the only asset you had, you're not worth $500,000. You don't have a net worth of $500,000. You have a net worth of negative $450,000. So you had negative net worth if that was your only asset. So don't be fooled by that. On the other hand, if you totally paid off your house, then yeah, if that was your only asset, and it was worth 500 grand, your net worth would be 500 grand. So you have to take that into account when you're thinking about your net worth. So if you think people making a lot of money, just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean your net worth's very high. And I can talk for hours about that. But let's focus on the topic at hand. Not get on too many tangents just because I like talking about this stuff. All right. So most people are in the situation of you're spending more than you're making, which is very common. Probably the average person is very much in this situation. And so you have two ways, two basic things that you can do if you're in this situation, or else you'll eventually run out of money, or be so in debt that you won't be able to ever to pay it off, or someone has to come in and pay it off for you. These two things that you can do are either one, make more money, two, spend less. So either you increase your income or you cut your expenses. I'm kind of focusing a little bit more on the expenses. I'm not going into specifically cutting the expenses, but for you to know how much you're spending, how much you're making, that way it leads to you deciding. So this whole live isn't necessarily about you should do this, you should do that, but it's giving you tools where all right, I'm actually making a lot more than I'm spending right now. What can I do with the excess? That net positive. Or if you're the opposite, like most people, I'm actually spending a lot more than I'm making. What do I need to do to flip the switch on that? To make more money, or to make sure I'm earning more money, more money's coming into my account than it's leaving my account in expenses or whatever. So my easy way of doing this without doing all the budgeting every single month or every single week, tracking your expenses. Granted, I do that just because I enjoy doing that, and it gives me good data that I can make educated decisions on certain things. But easy way to do this without having to do all the, like I said, the weekly, daily budgeting, tracking everything, tracking all your expenses, tracking everything on a very minute, detailed level, is you can do this. You can live off of a certain percentage of your money. Now, what I mean by this is, so say I'm just talking in an annual perspective just because that's the easiest for everyone to comprehend. But let's just say I'm making 100 grand in a year. This is minus taxes and everything. So I'm physically, or 100 grand is actually coming into my account every single year. So let's just say I'm making 100 grand a year, and if I'm following my strategy, let's just say I am going to commit, and I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to live off of 50% of the income that's coming of that 100 grand, the income that I receive. Now that just makes your life a whole lot easier. It's like the whole purpose, and I think the best way to keep track of your money, everyone goes off in these little tiny things like, oh, do this or do that or do that. As long as you, like, the simpler you keep things in your life, the easier you can track it, the easier you can make sure you're in a good situation, everything's kind of fine, and then you can actually focus your time on other things. Now, I'm the anomaly. I like doing this stuff. I like to see things at the very micro level all the way to the big macro level. So I do a lot more analysis and a lot more stuff than the average person. But if you're the average person, this is geared towards, then it's easy to do this. So say, like I said, 100 grand, decide, hey, kind of looked at my numbers, aggregate, this is how much I'm making, this is how much I'm spending. I'm going to live off of 50% of what I make. And what I mean by that is 50% is going to go to all of my expenses. So all of my expenses, 50%. So 50K in a year, it's going to go towards all of my expenses, like I mentioned. The car, my mortgage, my house, my rent, my if you have kids, your kids' expenses, taking them to school, gas, groceries, vacations, trips. So all of that I categorize as expenses. And then the other 50%, I can do some sort of investing, I can save, I can donate. Now, some people might attribute like donations or charity to like more of the expenses, and I think that's fine. I think it's better to keep it separate just because it's not expenses. I'd say is more of like your own for your own personal benefit, like in the sense that you're spending money for a service or a thing. So charity doesn't really come into that. It's more like I'm giving stuff away out of the goodness of my heart. So I kind of think put it in the same category as like saving slash investing. So this example, 100K, I'm gonna say 50% I'm gonna do for expenses, set aside for expenses. The other 50% I can invest it, I can save it, I can give some of it to charity. That's the easiest way. Now, obviously, everyone's very different. You have different income levels, you have different expense levels. Some people might have families, some people are single. So your expenses vary. So purely, and that was just an example. What I personally do is I split it one, two, three, four, five different ways. So right now, actually, I've been doing this for a while. I think I've been before I started my full time job. I was working full time, but not nearly making as much money. I was still on student pay, but I just wanted to work and make money, so I worked as much as I could after I graduated. So I was definitely net negative just because my expenses at that time did exceed what what I was making in the sense that all of the money I set aside for like savings and investing, that plus my expenses, technically they're both money leaving my account, was more than what I was making. But what I have been doing, I probably been doing this specific split percentages for since probably like April. So for the past, what is that? Like 5 months, 6 months, close to 6 months. And it's working pretty well. Before that, obviously, I was a student. I was working full time. I was working part time, so I kind of dialed it back a little bit. I left a little bit more for my expenses just because I didn't have as much income. So these are the different changes and shifts that you can make according to your situation. So what I did was I did 10% of my income to tithing. So my church believes like you give to our church tithing, it's a commandment. Tithing, and I also categorize like other charity, just because some people may not pay tithing to their church, but they may want to give charitably, and I recommend everyone do that just because what's better than helping someone in need, and just because I believe in karma. The more good you do for other people, not necessarily I'm doing good for other people so I can get something in return, but typically that's just how the world works. You help other people, that's how life works, and it somehow comes back and blesses your life as well. So 10% to tithing and charity, another 10% to immediate savings. So this is short-term savings, emergency fund type savings that I'm just going to keep in cash in a bank account. I know people are going to be like, "Oh, why are you keeping cash in a bank account, a savings account that you're yielding 0.1%?" Like the purpose of this is not to earn money on it. The purpose of this is I can go to the ATM tonight and withdraw that money. That's the purpose of it. I don't have to wait a couple of business days because it's in a high yield savings account. I can withdraw it. I can go to the bank right now and I can withdraw all of it. So 10% to my immediate savings, another 10% to my mid to long term savings. So this I'm going to throw into a high yield savings account. I probably wouldn't put this, say, mid to long term savings in. Actually, I might in treasuries. I think treasuries are more of kind of like a short term investment rather than a savings, but you can kind of compare it and it's kind of similar, if not the same thing. So putting that in a high yield savings account, earning right now close to 5% on my money, and that I'm probably gonna keep in there. For example, I'm about to buy a car. That's the money that I'm using to put a down payment on my car. I'm gonna put 50% down for my car because I've been yielding a good amount of money every month just from the high interest rates, and I've been doing that for probably the past year since last March, when I kind of discovered which high yield savings account I wanted to use. and again, I learned this from that same accounting professor. And I just put it in there, accumulate it. I'll put an X percentage. Like I said, put 10% for my paycheck, and I'll throw it in there. That way it can slowly grow. I can use it if I'd probably say anywhere from like 3 to 10 years. Actually, that's a little bit long. Well, yeah, 3 to 10 years. So money for my car, and the other, like, I'm gonna throw more money in there. That's gonna be for eventual down payment on a house, and so that's what the mid to long term. Probably like in the next 3 to 5 years, what do I want? What do I need to purchase that I need to save up for? I can earn a little bit more yield on it than just a savings account, but then it's also kind of somewhat readily available, and it's not a very, 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 very little to no risk. All right, so allocate 10% of that. I'm going to allocate another 20% to my investments. So I've actually upped this before in the past. It's kind of been like 10%, but now it's 20% just because I'm making more money. So 20%. This can be anything from stocks to crypto. I'm buying a lot more crypto right now. I'm trying to boost my allocation. Right now, I'm probably around like 5% of my portfolio is crypto. I want to boost that up to around 10%. Super bullish on crypto. That's another topic for another day. Not financial advice, but I'm telling you, we're in a bear market right now. Next year and a half, 2 years, we're going to see a really nice bull market. For those of you on Instagram, hop over to YouTube. Link in my story. If you want a question, we're talking about money managing without a budget. This is not financial advice, just purely educational. If you have a question, put it in the chat. Leave me a comment. So 20% in investments, like I said, anything from stocks to crypto to I have a little bit in some real estate fund. What else? When I have a little bit excess money, that's like kind of where I'm mainly allocating stuff to. So I'm saving up, if I want to save up for more of a rental property or whatever, then I'll probably allocate that more into the investment side of things. Let's see. Also, I've invested a little bit into alternatives as well. So talking about like commodities like gold and silver. I haven't really invested anything at all into gold and silver yet, but that's something I definitely want to in the future, just to diversify the portfolio a little bit. What else? Alternatives. I like to invest in shoes every once in a while. There's a really somewhat rare shoe or limited supply shoe I can get my hands on, hold it for a couple years, sell it for 3x, 10x what I paid for it, then cool. So like fun stuff like that, I'll throw into like alternatives. Like eventually, maybe I'll get into baseball cards and stuff. I know PBD, Patrick Bet-David, he's super into baseball cards. He bought one for like 100, 200K, sold it for like 750. It's insane. But stuff like that. Once you make more money, start making more money. Important thing is your active income. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but make more money. That allows you to invest differently, have different strategies, just because more you can diversify. Obviously, if you have like a business or something, you should probably invest most of your money into that. But it's really nice to diversify, especially when you've accumulated a decent amount of cash. So this 20%, I'm going to throw into different kinds of investments. So adding all those up, 10% from tithing, charity, 10% immediate savings, 10% mid to long term savings, 20% investments. That's to 50%. So what's the other 50%? I got 50% left. Everything else, so including my expenses. So if I want to go on vacation, food for groceries, like all the other stuff, my car payment, that's going to be in the 50%, everything else. Now, obviously, you have to be careful. You have to make sure that it stays 50%, that you can stay within your means. And this is a really good tip. So I typically like to have a couple different separate bank accounts. I have like an investing account, kind of use it as a clearing account for my investments, and then I have a separate checking account that I'll pay my credit cards off of, and I'll basically it'll all my expenses come out of that account. when all said and done. So I have a certain amount of money in there, and obviously the goal is to eventually have that like grow like very little. I try to actually keep that account relatively lean, just because if I can see that I'm actually running out of money in that account, I can. That's an easy indication that I'm spending more than I'm making. It's my expenses are exceeding that 50% that I've allocated to it. So that's when that gives me a signal to, all right, let me look at my expenses a little bit more carefully. Uh, is it 50%? I'm actually spending 55% of my total income. I need to scale stuff back a little bit. Either that or make a little bit more money, which obviously the ideal is to cut back a little bit just because people tend to overspend on stuff. We're all the same, we're human. But also try to make a little bit more money. Try to just do different things, side hustles, side gigs, starting your own business where you can make money on the side and then possibly eventually do that full time, depending on what you want to do. So that is my allocation. So recapping, like I said, 10% tithing, charity, 10% immediate savings, 10% mid to long term savings, 20% investments, 50% everything else. Expenses, car payments, groceries, rent. That makes it super simple if you think about that. And you can even make it simpler than that. Like I have many different vehicles that like immediate savings, mid to long term savings. You can cut it down to literally two things. You can literally cut it down to, let's just say, this is probably for the average person. My expenses are relatively low just because of my situation. But say for the average person, I'd probably say it's like leaning towards 20, like 80% of your money you're making, it's going to your expenses. That's including everything. 20% is your savings slash investing. That's the average person. You can make it as simple as that. So that's my recommendation. Split it into percentages. For average person, it's probably 80% expenses and then 20% investing slash savings. Now, these are kind of some of my last thoughts is you should monitor these different levels. That's actually I think good recommendations, like keep a spending checking account and then keep like a investment slash savings checking, or well, keep your savings account separate from everything just because it's a savings account. Or honestly, you can probably just keep it in a disregard that. Just put it in a separate checking account, just because the yield you're going to earn on a savings account versus checking account, it's like there's no difference. So just keep it in a separate checking account. And then you can eventually move, like say that's your 20% for savings. You can eventually move that to a high yield savings account. You can put it into a brokerage account or whatever, but it can just be like an intermediary account. But have a main account that has your expenses go through it, all your credit cards are running through it, anything you'd spend goes through that, and keep a separate checking account with all your savings and investments go through it. That's a simple way of keeping it. That way, you can monitor it if your account that has all your expenses, as that starts going down lower and lower and lower, and you can put like a lump sum in there just to just start off, a couple $1,000s or whatever, depending on your financial situation. That's what I did. And if you slowly going down or drastically going down, just because you're going to have 50% of your paycheck going to that, you can even do it. It's really nice. I probably should do this. I haven't done this yet, but you can set it up where your paycheck, a certain percentage, a certain amount of your paycheck will go with different one account and another account. You can set that. It's really nice. You can even set it up where 80%, if you're spending 80% of your income on expenses, 80% of that goes to the expenses account, and then 20%, the rest of it goes into the savings slash investing account. That way. But an easy indication, like I mentioned earlier, is once that expense account starts going lower and lower and lower, maybe you have to pull some money from your other account to pay your expenses. That's a big red flag that you're spending more than you're making, or you're spending more than what you've allocated. Then yeah, you're than what you allocated to yourself. So monitor that. I'd say obviously that's a big signal, but even tracking your aggregately, your income, your savings, charity, your expenses on a monthly basis, like you don't have to do anything, but I think it's a relatively good idea. If you want to kind of keep it bare bones, then just keep those two separate accounts. And if your expenses account kind of runs out of money or gets to a super low point, then that's an obvious signal. Hey, let's dive more into the monthly, the weekly balances and transactions so that we can decide like, all right, where can I cut spending? Maybe where can I add to my income a little bit. This the reason why you do this and you occasionally check in. So I'd recommend monthly. You can do it every quarter. You can do it annually. Whatever works for you. But this helps you determine if you need to rebalance your percentages. Like obviously, you want to select percentages that do stretch you a bit, just because everyone has long-term goals. Like you don't want to be working till you're 80 or 90, right? All right, hold on one second. I just got an error from YouTube, not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Buffering. Okay. Let's see. Give me one second. All right, I think it's fine. I don't know why it still says stream status poor. If anyone's watching this on YouTube, just let me know if the stream status is poor. Looks like it's fine. All right. Well, we'll just keep going. I'm almost done. But you want to select a percentage that's going to stretch you a bit. Like I said, you don't want to work till you're like 80, 90 years old until you die. No one wants to do that. So you have long-term money goals. That's another topic for a different video, another day. But select percentages that stretch you a little bit. Like for me right now, 50%, it's like it is a little bit of a stretch. Like I could be spending a lot more money on other stuff, but I want to invest as much as I can and stuff like that. So 50%, I mean, if you talk about the average person, 50% of your income, like not being able to spend it, that's like a big deal. And allocating it to other vehicles, that's a big deal. Uh, so eventually, maybe something that stretched me as I make more money. Obviously, lifestyle creep does happen. Like you can't totally avoid it, but you can avoid it as much as you can, delay it as much as you can. But eventually, I want to get it to like this is like a big goal of mine. So I'd probably scale my expenses back percentage wise, like another 20%. That's the next step. So instead of 50% expenses, 50% all the other stuff, I'm going to do, what was it, 30% or yeah, 30% expenses, 70% like all like more giving, charity, more savings, more investments, stuff like that. And then eventually want to do it like 80-20, like the opposite. So 80% is going to investing, savings, charity, and then 20% is going to my expenses. Now, obviously, I have to get to a point where I'm making good money or a lot more money in order to do that. But totally doable. Eventually, that'd be awesome just to do like 99% and then 1% expenses. Obviously, you make more money, you work hard, you should enjoy life, go take vacations, go buy nice things if you can afford them, and they're not going to affect your financial health at all. So you can live a little for sure, but always try to build for the future just because, especially since you're young, for most people in my audience that watch me, is you're in your teens, you're in your 20s, possibly early 30s. You have a lot of life to live ahead of you. So don't squander it all. Like you hear all these gurus and stuff like there's a happy medium. You can enjoy your life, spend money, have fun, while also shooting for your financial goals, saving money, investing as much money as you can. There's a happy medium. Doesn't mean you have to live like a hermit, not spending money on anything, be a minimalist, and just like 99% of your $500 paycheck has to go to investing in crypto. Like honestly, it's not going to probably help that much, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. But also, don't just like totally neglect savings and investing. Like, oh, okay, like I'll do it later once I'm making more money, just because that's a bad mentality to have. If you can implement these strategies when you're younger, trust me, it's a whole lot easier when you're older. Once you're have a lot more heavy expenses and you're making more money, just because it happens. Make more money, you spend more money, especially as you get married, have a family, have kids. Your expenses are just going to go up. Just how it is. All right, that's about the end of the stream. I know I'm about just hit the hour mark. Uh, if you have any questions, just let me know. Shoot me a DM or watch. If you're watching this live later, you can just leave in the description or in the comment section. Oh, I always say description. Like, I get those two mixed up for some reason. I put stuff in the description. You guys put stuff. So that's how it works. All right, for those of you on Instagram, take a quick peek on my YouTube. That's where I'm kind of archiving all this stuff. Give me a like, subscribe to the channel. Tips. Future men value. Speaking of that, I think that's a really good one. How to avoid lifestyle creep. I'll definitely add that to the future. I'm gonna cut the Instagram feed right now. Head over to my YouTube. Just because I have it written down on my phone. All right. All right. I did accidentally put mute on my mic. That's good. Not that. This. All right. So like I said, I need to set aside time this week, honestly, just to like brainstorm. Past couple past week has been pretty busy. I need to do that instead of watching some football on Sunday. But as far as future lives, I did a money one this week. I did a fitness one pretty recently. Let's see. I might do more of a. I did a lifestyle one. I might do more of a style like fashion one. Let's see. I might do one in jewelry. I need to get a little bit more expertise and a little bit more research. Just because I've been wearing some jewelry recently, I've been liking it. I talked about watches in one of my men's value tips. I might do that. I might do actually coming up. Fall's coming up, so I might do some fall style men's style advice. I'm gonna do that. I think myself pretty stylish. Like one of the guys I really look up to is Kevin Samuels, R.I.P. Rest in peace. Uh, Really fly dude. Like I don't know if I'm to the point where I'll wear suits to all my streams and stuff like that, but I'll wear a suit every once in a while. I do like wearing rocking suits. Obviously at church, I'll usually have like a suit or something nice on. Out and about, probably not gonna rock a suit. A little bit more athleisure, a little bit more comfortable. I'll still wear some nice stuff, polo and stuff, but I'll do. That's right. It's a good idea. Fall fashion, fall stop men's style for this next upcoming live on Thursday night. But promise to y'all, not gonna be late. Had uncontrollable circumstances. Had to get stuff done. Tonight's gonna be a late night again, but don't worry, I will go to the gym tomorrow morning. I will wake up at 5:30 to get to the gym on time. Yeah, as with everything, loving this camera. And let me know y'all's thoughts on my camera too. Good upgrade, not good upgrade, upgrade even more. We'll see. But y'all know what it is. As with everything, trying to help you guys get stronger, smarter, healthier, wealthier. So go ahead, follow for more lives, follow for more tips, and as always, stay pumped. Cue the outro.